Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, Winter Edition 2026. It is Tips Tuesday. Tips Tuesday. All right. So, I actually knew what I wanted to talk about this morning while I was typing up the description. I was like, my morning view, Winter 26. Tips Tuesday, and I'm like, I'm going to talk about the waiting. The waiting. All right, so it's not the word I wanted to use, and I could not think of what the word was that I wanted to use. But waiting was good enough. I would have to wait for that word to pop into my mind. Now, we all get a little impatient. I won't say all of us, but the majority of us are so impatient. There was a time we didn't have microwaves. 30 seconds to warm up your coffee. We didn't always have coffee pots. Like, as far as Keurigs, real quick, it's ready. We didn't always have percolators or electric pots. Still took more time than a Keurig, which takes more time than a microwave. But with the microwave, it's already made, right? We didn't always have gas or electric ovens. When I was growing up, we had a wood stove, and quite often my mother used to cook on the wood stove. And so, this had nothing to do with my age, because my husband grew up with a color television, an Atari, and a gas stove and flushing toilets. I had none of those things. So it has nothing to do with my age. All right. Some people are going back to that way of life because they're finding that the way of life now is not as wonderful as it was cracked up to be. So everything has a term, like a time frame where it matures. And anything from, if you want a little bit more interest on your money in the bank, instead of putting it into a savings account, you can put it into a CD. It'll get you a slightly bit more interest. And in that, there's a term, and you have to wait for that term. And if you take it out early, it will cause a penalty. Now, depending on when it is taken out, will depend on whether you actually lose money in the process. Because it's not always that you lose money. You just don't gain the money you expected to gain. So it all depends on where it is in the term. So my first thought was pregnancy. You have to wait 9 months or 40 weeks. It's really not 9 months. It's 40 weeks. You wait 40 weeks for a child. And there's a process that needs to take place while you're waiting. You need to eat healthy. You need to make sure that you provide all the things it needs to have this child. You prepare their room or their space that they're going to be in. And so there's preparation in the waiting. So it's not just waiting. La la la, do do do. Mm-hmm. Now, if you do, that term will come, right? And you just won't be prepared. But there's things that you do in the process while you're waiting so that you are prepared. Doesn't mean you're not waiting. You are waiting. But being impatient, going out and planting your seed, and the next day you're digging it up to see where exactly that seed is in its propagation. Would you do that? Would a farmer do that? Maybe you would do that. Would a farmer do that? No. Now, there may be times throughout their season that they will go and check on a select area or few to see what is going on with the whole crop. Is there trouble brewing? Is there a fungus happening? Is there, what's going on with this crop, so that when time at harvest, we know we can yield the greatest yield. That's what it's called on that CD too. The yield. It's what you get as for waiting, right? If you take it out early, you may not yield as much. So here you are, planting your crop. Okay, so maybe you have enough patience to let that seed sprout up. Do we dig it up then? Do we see what's happening? Like I said, a farmer might be checking roots and things, as for the whole crop. But he's not going to do that for the whole crop. He might do it for scientific research. That's it. But research is not being impatient. Research isn't going in to see if it's produced already. Has it produced yet? No, hasn't. So, you have a little bit more patience. And now the crop is, as high as it's supposed to be. Say it's corn. Not a big corn fan, but hey, do we go in looking for corn before it is ripe? No. You go in, you open up the little husks, if there's husks yet. Some people are so impatient, they don't find any husks, and they're like, there's no husks. Am I going to get any crop? Panic. But then, when there's husks there, they go in, let's check it out. Rip. It's not ready yet. Of course it's not ready yet. It has not come to full term. You are not going to yield the amount that you were planning on yielding until the term is full. You can actually take a baby before term. You actually can. There could be complications. My sister-in-law had 2 children. Both were born with while she was in preeclampsia. Very life-threatening situation. They were taken, both of them, in their 22nd, 24th, 26th weeks. That's like half, a little over half. Not much over half though, right? They were preemie babies. They are both very healthy adults today. Very healthy adults. But they had to stay in the NICU. They had to stay where there was oxygen to strengthen their lungs and all the stuff that goes about with that type of situation. Given the situation and the term that they came out very good. But there could be complications with taking them early. There are anything with a birth, it could be fragile. That's why when Jesus said, like a woman in travail, her hour has not yet come. That time where back in the day they could just die giving birth happened quite a lot. It happened in our own country, as young as our country is. Back in like the 1800s, it would happen quite a bit. Very recently, I heard about situations that possibly could have ended up in that situation. I didn't follow up to find out what the outcome of that was. But still, giving birth, it can be a very dangerous thing to do. But the joy that is set before us, we're willing to take that opportunity. And then we're waiting for 40 weeks. Waiting. Looking forward to that day. And some people will get a little impatient and they're like, oh, you know what? I want this baby out now. No. And the same thing with our CD. Oh, we need the money now. Our furnace just broke. We don't have a furnace, by the way. You got to understand how I talk to you guys. It's more in story format, not actual. But the actual can happen, right? Especially in this. The amount of people that ran out of gas and their furnaces broke during this deep freeze. So what I'm saying can be reality. It's just not necessarily my reality. So, oh no, my furnace just broke. And my CD's locked up for another 3 more months. I need it now. And so circumstances will come up and we'll be like, oh, there's a reason for our impatience. Circumstances have come up. And sometimes it warrants going early, like my sister-in-law with preeclampsia. Sometimes it warrants early because you're in a deep freeze and your furnace broke. But most times, it's not that drastic. But we look at our circumstance and we panic. And it's like, oh, it's just taking so long. And it is taking long. Because everything has a term. Everything has a term. And the bigger the thing, the longer it needs, what is the word, gestate? The longer the gestation process. I think that was the word I was looking for to be in my quotes. Gestation. So here we are, with this big birthing of something that God has given us. And we're waiting. And sometimes we're just not prepared. Sometimes it's going to be big. And you have to wait a little bit longer. An elephant's gestation is like 2 years. Takes a while. The corn takes a season. Baby, 40 weeks. Your little plant, tomato plant. Whatever the season is for that, Whatever the season is for whatever you're growing. We don't have to be impatient, but we do need to prepare. Prepare for the yield. Prepare to take care of that yield. I think that's all I got for you today. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. But before I go, first I have to take off my glove so I can turn it off. Go over to YouTube. Mona E. Harrison, different than my Facebook profile. White hair, beautiful face. You'll know you're in the right spot. And subscribe. Subscribe right there. All right. Get all the bells and whistles, notifications, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Like, share, and comment. Right? Because that really helps the algorithm. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. I'm not counting the numbers anymore. They will be what they will be. God will bring those people that need to hear what I have to say. I believe that. I believe that. So if all he's got for me is a couple of people, if all he's got with me is 100, if all he has for me is 1,000, if all he has for me is a million, whatever he has for me, I'm good with that. But there are some things that I have to do to prepare. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow for Wonderful Wednesday. Bye.